If you're doing any of these 6 things while co-parenting with a narcissist, you're contributing to the problem. I see the last one the most often. At the end of the video, I'm going to share what's at the root of all 6 of these behaviors and how to stop engaging in them. Number 1, you're engaging in power struggles, falling into that trap of trying to assert your dominance or control in your interactions with your narcissistic co-parent. Maybe you say things like, "You think you can control everything, but you can't," or "Stop trying to control me. You can't push me around anymore," or "Stop trying to manipulate the situation." Now, those things are true, and feeling them, that makes sense, but saying them doesn't make any sense. By engaging in these power struggles and responding in this way, you're actually reinforcing that unhealthy dynamic and you're perpetuating the cycle. Tell me that isn't absolutely emotionally draining. Number 2, you're seeking validation. You continually seek their validation or approval, hoping that they're going to change or acknowledge your perspective. Like maybe you say, "I made X decision. Are you good with that?" Maybe you're over-explaining your decisions, hoping that they'll finally agree with you, or you're over-apologizing for minor mistakes that you've made. You might even be seeking confirmation or agreement from your co-parent on routine decisions or tasks that are related to the kids, but you're not trusting your own judgment. Number 3, you're reacting emotionally, allowing emotions to dictate your responses instead of maintaining your composure and responding calmly. Maybe you say exactly what's on your mind, like, "I hate dealing with you," or "I cannot stand how you treat the kids." Now, you'd be right to feel this way, but not to react this way outwardly. These responses are emotionally charged and confrontational. They're not composed and calm. So when you respond emotionally, it's honestly like telling the narcissistic co-parent, "Yeah, you've got me under your thumb." It really just gives them a high five for their manipulative tricks, and it makes them think that they're winning, which only fuels more of their bad behavior. 4, blaming and shaming. Resorting to blame and shame tactics only escalates tension and perpetuates that cycle of conflict that you hate. Maybe you reply with, "Your attempt to paint me in a negative light is noted," because you haven't yet been able to see how antagonistic that statement is. You're attempting to shame them for insulting you or accusing you of something, but what you're actually doing is feeding into their game. You're engaging in the conflict. That only validates their behavior and encourages more attacks. 5, you're being overly accommodating. Maybe you're always giving in to demands or requests because you're fearing their backlash or fearing the conflict. This might be allowing extra virtual or in-person parenting time outside of what you agreed on because you're terrified that they're going to accuse you of withholding or gatekeeping the kids, or you're afraid that a judge will think that you're doing that. Maybe you don't want to risk confrontation or seem uncooperative to your ex or a judge. Yeah, it matters what a judge thinks, but not your ex. Abusers are really good at convincing you that they're going to show a judge that you're gatekeeping. But if you're not, stand firm in your decisions. You can actually weaken your legal position by doing this, but more than anything, you're normalizing their just totally unreasonable behavior. So even though you might think that you're just trying to keep the peace, always giving in can actually make things worse. You might end up feeling resentful because you're constantly putting your own needs aside, can explode into big fights later. Okay, here's number 6, the last one, failing to set boundaries. Neglecting to establish clear boundaries and consequences for disrespectful or manipulative behavior. Now, I see parents responding to texts and emails at all hours of the day or night, or using emails when you've agreed to use a parenting app in the final order, or responding to verbal abuse, devaluation, or insults when you don't need to be. Maybe you let your ex breach your parenting agreements. Maybe you don't even have a formal agreement, but you've set boundaries about pickup times and drop-off times, and they're always late in ways that directly impact the kids, and you just let it slide repeatedly. Now, this can negatively impact the kids, but also your self-esteem. You continue to feel powerless. And I want to be clear that you're not the cause of the problem, but you're contributing to it. These behaviors are driven by our ego's need to protect itself, to maintain control, and preserve a positive self-image. Now, this makes sense to feel, but it's not productive, and it's not in support of your long-term desire for peace. Sometimes these behaviors give you temporary relief or temporary feelings of having power over yourself or validation, but it actually just reinforces the really dysfunctional dynamic that your co-parent thrives in. So I want to teach you how to change all of this, how to flip this all around. And I'm going to do exactly that in a workshop called Reframe and Reset, Winning the Battle of Words with a Toxic Ex. I'm hosting it with family court warrior and high conflict divorce coach, Angela Van of Family Court Corner. Your ex? Irrelevant, insignificant. Engaging in these behaviors gives them supply, attention, and validation. And we do this a lot in an attempt to kind of get our power back, but I want to show you a better way to do it.
Trauma bonds broken from him.